Hello everyone. Some of you have been subscribed for a longer time, might have seen some of my videos ranting about people who like simple solutions to complex problems. And I thought I'd dig in a little bit more and talk about what that actually is and what it applies to, especially since we have some very complex problems looking at us in the skeptical community and here on YouTube even as we speak. There is actually in academia a described difference between what is called a tame problem and a wicked problem. A tame problem, just to rattle these off, has a relatively well-defined and stable problem statement. The pipe is leaking. Has a definite stopping point. You know when you fixed it. The pipe stops leaking. Has a solution which can be objectively evaluated as being right or wrong. Not objectively as in like universal truth, but you know that if you light the pipe on fire, that is not going to stop it from leaking. Belongs to a class of similar problems which can be solved in a similar manner. Plugging up holes in tubes. Has solutions which can be tried and abandoned. Well, we can wrap it in duct tape. Well, that didn't work. We can pull off the duct tape and solder it. That's a tame problem. A wicked problem, to use the set of 10 characteristics that pretty much everyone does, and I've got some links down below describing these as well. There is no definitive formulation of a wicked problem. It's not possible to write a well-defined statement describing what it is. And generally this is because it appears differently from different perspectives and has the situation, regardless of what it is, has different impacts upon different people. Matter of fact, we'll go on. Wicked problems have no stopping rule. You never know when it's done. For instance, in the case of discrimination, well, actually the problem with these characteristics of wicked problems is that they all interrelate. I'll list them all in the bottom. But just keep in mind that with no stopping rule, the reason for that is because you never know whether you're stopping whatever it is you're doing to ameliorate the problem. Now that that's a part of the system that produces that the problem exists in, you never know precisely what effect stopping what you're doing will have. So, solutions to wicked problems are not true or false, but good or bad. Essentially, this is just saying that there is no, this is 100% going to work and this is not going to work. Well, you can run into problems that are not going to work. If you're going to talk about the problem of how to deal with universal health care in the United States, going out and giving everyone a box of Tic Tacs is probably not going to help with that, except over the very, very long term, where you're going to have more people with tooth decay and not able to eat as well, and therefore they'll die earlier. But that's a stretch. And it depends upon a lot of other things like how many of the Tic Tacs they eat, yada yada yada. Are you getting the feeling that this is complex stuff? Okay, number 4. There is no immediate... the other thing about number 3 is I call it the pick your downside problem. You don't get to pick a solution that makes everybody happy because there isn't one. 99.99999% of the time. It is all about who can I most afford to piss off as far as being in the position of making these decisions. There is no immediate and no ultimate test of a solution to a wicked problem. Sometimes that's because you've got to evaluate too many factors at once. Other times it's because merely asking the questions that would give you that information would change the behavior of the system you're testing. Okay, let's say you want to try and evaluate the stock price, or what is the current flow of the market in a particular sector. Merely asking the questions can excite some people and spook others to change their buying and selling habits to to change the prices of stocks in the market. Number 5, every solution to a wicked problem is a one-shot operation because there is no opportunity to learn by trial and error. Every attempt counts significantly. In other words, as I was saying earlier, when you say, okay, I'm going to implement affirmative action to try and deal with discrimination, not only do you not know when you can stop doing it, not only do you not precisely know what effects it's having because it's become a big part of this massive unknown, not only do you not know, is measuring it changing the way that people are reporting and acting towards it, but you can't run affirmative action again. You can't apply more duct tape to the pipe, so to speak. You can expand the program, but that is applying a slightly different stimulus to different parts of the problem area. It's not the same thing as the solution you originally tried. And your experience with your previous attempt at affirmative action, so to speak, will not inform what happens in later iterations. So, wicked problems do not have an exhaustively describable set of potential solutions, nor is there a well-described set of permissible operations that may be incorporated into the plan. In other words, with the pipe example, you can only do certain things to a cylindrical metal object or cylindrical PVC object and not destroy it. There are certain things you can do to a hole that will make it worse, such as applying a drill. This limits the number of problem solutions you can have. This doesn't necessarily exist because of the difficulty of defining the problem in the first place, or problems, or lack of problems, or situation. It's a problem. Describing wicked problems is in and of itself a problem. Every wicked problem is essentially unique. An ordinary problem belongs to a class of similar problems that are all solved in the same way. Pipes, tunnels, whatever. A wicked problem is substantially without precedent. Experience does not help you address it, except in one way: the ability to take in lots of information and try and wing your way through all this bullshit of people around you telling you what you should be thinking. That's about the only way that experience helps you, is you get used to dealing with unknowns and doing the best you can. This is the pisser. Every wicked problem can be considered to be a symptom of another problem. While an ordinary problem is self-contained, a wicked problem is entwined with other problems. However, these problems do not share one root cause. Okay? Because you have, for instance, discrimination, or even to do with the race realists, blacks are scoring, on average, lower in IQ tests than whites. Now, people, or African American and Caucasians, depending upon whatever fucking terms you want to use, I don't care. You can talk about the legacy of slavery in the United States. You can talk about the legacy of European racism and the European occupation of tremendous amounts of the New World. You can talk about, the Victorian formulation of races and how that impacted our view of other cultures and how to deal with them. And how other people were. You can talk about the hijacking of Darwinism, quote-unquote, whatever that is, of evolution, to fit into social Darwinism, which is essentially a simple solutions version of the theory of evolution that attempts to explain things that are quite complex in very basic and, well, you can't do anything about that terms. You can talk about the varying success and setbacks of African Americans within the United States. You can talk about varying things like Jim Crow and the difference between segregation in the North and segregation in the South, and how it played out and how prejudice played out. There are many, many, many things you can talk about. nutrition, culture, language. Everything is different, but you can't really nail it down to one cause, and it is connected to many other causes. Oh, and even things like the crappy definition of IQ, other than scoring well on IQ tests, which are normed against different normal populations, etc. The existence of a discrepancy representing a wicked problem can be explained in numerous ways. A wicked problem involves many stakeholders, all who will have different ideas about what the problem really is and what its causes are. With the whole theist, anti-theist, atheist, I don't give a fuck uproar, say, oh, it's religion is the problem. Oh, dogma is the problem. Oh, intolerance is the problem. Oh, being sure you're right is the problem. Oh, your mom's the problem, etc. And people getting butthurt and wanting to be able to point at something and say that is the problem. You know, or human psychology is the problem, or human culture is the problem. There are many, 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 many interrelated things going into these problems. And I'm not saying that people dying and suffering and yada yada aren't problems. I'm saying that the parts are far larger. Not only are the parts far larger than the whole in terms of complexity, or the sum of the parts, but they are larger than we can comprehend easily, and definitely than we can solve with simple things such as, we're going to strive to reduce the influence of religion, especially when we can't even agree on what that means. And number 10, the planner, or the person who is responsible for coming up to a solution for your chosen clusterfuck, has no right to be wrong. Problem solvers dealing with a wicked issue are held liable for the consequences of any actions they take, because those actions will have such a large impact and are hard to justify. And this is why people arguing about wicked problems get such shit, or people who do not advocate for simple solutions are often left out in the cold because they don't have a group of other, and I wanted to say simple-minded people, but people going for simple solutions to stand with and yell alongside them. And perhaps simple-minded is appropriate for the particular issue at hand, because it is a simplistic approach to propose a simple solution to a set of complex interlocking problems. Unless you're Gary, in which case it's let them all die out. That's a fairly simple solution, although I don't think it solves the problem. It eliminates that which has the problem. But, you know. So what's the point of all this? The point of all this is that the race realists and the Thunderfoot, this old Rebecca Watson is stupid, and the rad femmes, and the fucking Thunderfoot has never even seen a rad femme if he thinks Rebecca Watson is a rad femme. The Rebecca Watson's followers who take what she said, amplify it 10 or 20 degrees, and I'm not talking about all of Rebecca Watson's followers, I'm talking about a small but vocal minority interested in a simple solution to complex problems, fucking drive me up a fucking wall because they take the reasonable request she made that was the core of Elevator Gate, which was, guys, 4 o'clock in the morning in an elevator, please don't do that, which I can understand. The convention atmosphere is different. My thoughts on the matter are, I'm still working through it, and I will be for a long time because I chew on things for a long time. But people who are taking the nuke mentality and saying, he wanted to rape her, he definitely wanted to sex her, blah, 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 whatever. It's like, oh my God, the libertarian, Shane D.K. Fringe Elements, libertarian realist, or indomitable realist, or whatever his fucking name is, who the simple solution is get rid of government. Not like that will have any unintended consequences whatsoever. And not like no government. I just have no idea how to approach you fucking people. And you fucking people are the people who want simple solutions. Well, we all would love simple solutions. I'm sorry, we can't have them. It's not childhood anymore. And there is no adult around above us to bear the cost of the simple solution, the hidden externalities that they keep us protected from. There is, unfortunately, only wealthy people who will shift the burden of those externalities onto us. And there are a lot of wealthy people who are bitching about that. So that's not simple either. There are a lot of people who don't want to do that, who are wealthy. So, the 1% is not a simple thing, as simple as it looks. However, income distribution in the United States, scary. I'm roaming far afield here because I'm trying to cover a lot of bases. So I think I'll just go after the two most head-clutchingly stupid comments I can imagine off the top of my head, or could imagine on the bus ride home. And I'll just address those. And then I'll close this. And I'm sorry for the ramble, it's just... I hate simple solutions. Solutions in quotes. Because they're not, and they're incredibly destructive, and the next generation gets to suffer for them if the people who lived when the solution implemented are lucky. If they're not lucky, they get to deal with it right then. Okay. Then again, that might be lucky. I don't know. Oversimplifying with the category of wicked problems. Oh, you're just oversimplifying by taking these social and political and economic problems and throwing them into the category of wicked problems so you don't have to deal with these simple solutions that are politically unacceptable to you. Oh yeah? Well, that ties in with the other thing I thought of, which is that those aren't wicked problems. They could be easily solved. Those could be standard problems. They could easily be solved by insert the speaker's ideology's particular secret sauce here. And, well, I don't know what to tell you. Other than, you know, you really, really honestly think people have not looked at these as solutions before? Do you really, really, really honestly think that this simple solution that's sitting out here, that hundreds of thousands or millions of people are screaming out, has never been looked at as a solution before? And do you really think nobody's ever given it a shot on any scale? Now, whether they've successfully given it a shot, that I could agree with. Because if they had, we would have fucking heard about it from you every hour of every goddamn day. But you're not telling us, so we haven't. So, unless you're talking about Alex Jones's conspiracy of everything, in which all good things are being hidden from us because the CIA wants to rain on our parade for some unspecified reason involving control. And tinfoil hats. Don't forget tinfoil hats. But, to the rather large number of people I have insulted and assaulted regarding your the very methodology by which you approach the universe. Tough shit. To the rest of you, or to the ones who are kind of on the fence, or the ones who are willing to think of things in a bit more complex terms and realize that, you know, we don't get to have simple answers anymore. Or the ones who already know this and are going, duh. I've got links down below, and I will be looking at the comments hoping for insight into the world I don't have yet, which should be pretty easy considering there are lots of things I don't know. So, thank you for your time and attention, and I look forward to reading.